The Brothers Wisp. The Brothers Wisp, Brothers Wisp. The Brothers Wisp. The Brothers.
You're now listening to Greg. It's the Brothers Wisp. Let's take
Hey everybody, this is Greg with another tip video. This time we're lucky enough to have Matt Whiteley. Where are you actually from, Matt?
I'm from Manchester originally in England, but I'm in Sheffield now, so a bit further east.
Excellent.
But yeah.
So what's your pedigree? What are you doing? Are you a WISP? Are you just an IT guy? What's the story here?
I'm an IT guy. I've got a friend who's got a WISP. But yeah, I'm an IT guy. For the last kind of 20 years, I've been doing IT stuff. I started off with Glaxo Wellcome, being a programmer. Then joined a company just doing network support, PC servers, networks, WAN type stuff. And we had a multinational customer, so that was great. So they had like 35 sites, 20 different countries. So we kind of moved all those guys from NT4 back in the day up to Server 2003. But that took me around the world, and we were doing VPNs at the time, which kind of 17, 20 years ago were a bit of a black art, and you kind of clicked some buttons and it worked. And nobody really knew what phase 1 or phase 2 was back then.
Gotcha. So you got started when you were what, 13 years old? Because you look like you're about 30 right now.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'm 40 now.
Okay. You've got that baby face. And you've got the same haircut I do, so it's, you're in good company, obviously. Awesome. So you started out in computer science then. Did you go to uni for that?
Yeah, went to uni, got a degree in networking and communications, and then pretty much didn't use it for 15 years. Went out in the real world and got a real job that I knew nothing about. I don't know. Didn't teach you anything about NT4 wins and all the horrible technologies back then.
Hey man, when I got started, we were doing some NT stuff as well. We were migrating to mostly Windows 2000 at that point. We were mostly Windows, but we still had a couple of NT boxes. So what do you do with yourself now most of the time?
Me and some of the guys, we've got a business which is just doing network support servers. So server support, PC support, networks. We've got a data center solution for our private cloud. So our kind of bread and butter stuff is network support, but then we do telephony as well, and we'll do Sage 200. So Sage 50 in the UK is pretty much what everybody used to use for their accounts, and most people do. But as soon as you want any customization or you want to do multi-currency or anything like that, you have to go to Sage 200. So we've kind of got a programming and accounting kind of side as well.
All right, I'm going to show my ignorance. I have no idea what Sage is.
Sorry, so Sage is just QuickBooks. Do you know QuickBooks?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it's the same deal.
All right, excellent.
But yeah, I use MikroTik quite a lot. Certainly our data center solution is pretty much built all on MikroTik. Been listening to the Brothers Wisp maybe 4 years now.
Oh, wow. You're not completely brain dead at this point. So.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. And I've got some customers who are fairly large geographically, so they're kind of multi-square mile customers in the UK, so they need some wireless goodness. So that's MikroTik, Ubiquiti, point-to-point stuff. And they'll be running things like OSPF, and we've got some decent firewalls in there, and they have kind of thousands of customers a day on their site. So as well as the kind of humdrum, boring service stuff, I get to do some interesting stuff as well.
That's cool. It sounds like never a dull moment.
No, that's certainly not.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, actually, some feedback we've gotten recently is people want to hear more on the kind of enterprise / server side. So you are, I guess, an embodiment of that. I think I kind of fit somewhere more on the fence like you, as opposed to most of the guys we talk to, which are, they're more quote unquote WISPs or just complete ISPs, So that's cool. So, jumping right in with the tips. You had number 1. If you don't know how it works, you don't know how to fix it. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think my 5 tips, I decided to kind of specialize how to fix things. 5 tips on my top 5 on how to fix things.
Cool.
There's something great tips gone previously, so I think I'd just be repeating them if I didn't do that. But yeah, if you don't know how it works, you're not going to know how to fix it. If you just pick a Mimosa B5 pair up and stick them up and hit the auto everything button, find a bit of a gap between two buildings, and you get a ping response, and you think, well, it's great. Let's put that into production. No problem. You've got no real idea. You've never done your wireless training. You've got no idea why trying to pick a small hole between a building is a bad idea, and what the auto everything is going to do. Or if you're installing Microsoft Exchange and you next, finish, install prerequisites, yes please, finish, stick an MX record in and put a port mapping on port 25, you're going to have no idea what's going on when that thing stops working. All the underlying technologies, all the underlying stuff that could break, you're just going to spend a lot of time fixing it, and probably a lot of time whilst people are getting some downtime. Because you're going to be retrospectively having to learn whatever it is that's broke, and you probably put it into production because you thought it was great, and you don't know what it did, and it just worked, and you get on with it.
Well, you know, with this, I think you bring up a very anxiety-filled subject for me, right? So there's extremes, right? So there's one where you can go Thomas Kernack on it, and you will read every RFC, and you'll read every piece of documentation you possibly can. You'll lab it, and you'll have to 100% understand the thing, and you'll own it, right? And I respect that. Or you're like me, who I just can't make my brain do those things. Like, you know, like my car, I know how to change the oil, I know where most of the things are, but if you ask me, you know, what the timing is on it, or the gaps in my spark plugs, you know, like, I have no idea, right? So where do you find that balance? Like, how much information is enough to where you've got it and you can handle it and hold it, but you're also not going into a black hole? Like Thomas was saying, he spent, I think, 4 days just looking on Nginx, or whatever it's called, the web server, you know, like just trying to stand up the load balancing portion. You know, it's like, I really don't want to dump 4 days of my life into like a single sort of thing. So it's, how do you find your balance on those things?
I think it depends how critical is that going to be. So that customer that's hung off that bit of auto everything that you've just put up, does it really matter if they go down? Does it matter if you're going to spend half a day trying to figure out what's gone wrong? I don't know. So Thomas in his Nginx, if that thing breaks, I guess the question is, how much trouble is he in? If he's in a lot of trouble very quickly and it can never break, then I guess you've got to know inside out. So you deploy it right in the first time. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's experience. I think you have to have made some kind of effort to understand what's going on.
For sure. Well, what I hear you saying is it depends on the criticality of the product. The more critical it is, the more time you're going to put into understanding it at a fundamental level. Is that kind of a summarization of it? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I also think you get a gauge for how complex something's going to be. You must have a finger in the air when you're putting something in. The bits that you should be reading about. You know, Microsoft Exchange is a pretty big, complex thing. And you probably have to do a fair bit of reading before you want to deploy an enterprise mail system. Versus, I don't know, putting a wireless device up, there's maybe a bit of RF to read about. And then channel selection. And you could probably read about it until the cows come home, but I think there's 2 or 3 different areas just to get some grounding in at least.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have so much respect for you server guys. Yeah, I'm going to throw you in that camp because it sounds like you do a lot of server work, at least significantly more than I do. It is so much more fiddly. I feel like networking guys are like plumbers. You know what I mean? We're just kind of throwing pipes together and turning wrenches and stuff, whereas you guys are a little bit more artistic, I guess, in your approach. It seems, you know, it just feels so much more difficult than just pure networking in a way.
Yeah, maybe I trivialized the wireless. Thomas would kill me.
The wireless stuff is, it's that, like I've said before, it's indistinguishable from magic for me, you know, because it's just so bizarre how it works and significantly advanced for me. Though I'm forced to learn more about it all the time, which is great. I think small doses is good for me. You know, I'm easily distracted sort of person, I guess.
Well, I guess it takes us into number two. If you don't want to have your head in the manual, then just bench it and break it. So get it implemented somewhere you don't care about and break it, and keep on breaking it. And after you broke it, get somebody. Everybody knows that guy who's going to come in and really break it for you. And I think once you've fixed what you've broken multiple times, and then you fix what somebody else has tried to break for you, I think you've got a fairly good idea of what's going on. You can still do that and still get it wrong, but I don't know, the OSPF, you know, you get your 5 virtual microtics, stick them in, you create all your OSPF together, you stick a PC at one end, a PC at the other end, you ping the two, you pull a router, nothing happens, everything carries on pinging. It's like brilliant. It's a very simple thing. You think, well, that's great. I'll stick that into production. You need somebody to come along and say, actually, you're going to have a wireless device in the middle of this, and I'll tell you what, you know, link state. Let's make them think, oh, the links are still up, but let's kill the wireless device that's in the middle of it, and let's change that topology. And do that, and then you'll find, you know, your SPF comes back up and tries to form a neighbor, and they just keep shouting at each other, and nothing happens. And I think they mentioned it at the moment. It was a great example. But they keep on shouting at each other. Nothing ever happens until you reboot one of them, and then it all comes back up. I think until you've done it and benched it and got somebody else to bench it, and that's exactly what I did. And I didn't break it, and somebody else broke it for me, and then I had to fix it. And then you realise it turn the broadcast off, turn it point to point, and I hadn't read that. I hadn't read about that until somebody broke it for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely bench it and break it.
Well, I think that's kind of a brilliant point too, is ask for help. You know, so if it's you were talking about Exchange a lot. If I somehow that fell in my lap, I would find a guy like you who's done it, who's been there, and said, hey, give me the 5, the 10, however many minutes, just a quick overview of the pitfalls. You know, where are the pits that I need to sort of stumble my way around, you know, and a lot of times just a quick 30-second word from you will save me half a day, you know, and that's incredible. And again, coming around to the expert, once you have it built, ask them to show you how to break it. You know, I think that's great. Yeah.
And then I think once you've benched it and you've broken it, and you've got that perfect configuration, or what you think is perfect configuration, you can get that configuration on there from the get-go. Put it back on your test bed, make sure it's going to work, configure it like it's going to be in the field, and after you've done that and you've broken it, you'll have, in inverted commas, the perfect config. It's never going to be perfect. You're still going to get to the site and something's still going to be broken about it. But when you're up that mast, or when I don't know, when you've got somebody's Exchange server down, at least you're putting in a config that you think is 100% correct. Yeah. You've done 99% of the legwork. I've seen people turn up, get the router out of the bag. It's got zero config on it. It's like, we'll get up the tower, we'll just plug some wires in, and then it'll be easy because I just OSPF these two. I got to get a VLAN bridge from my management over these two, and it's fine. I'll get it. I'll do it once we're there. But there's always a curveball when you get there. So you're not only doing what you should have been doing back in the office, you've got to deal with a curveball. So instead of having a pre-config router and now a curveball, which is going to take you maybe 10 minutes to fix, you've now got maybe 40 minutes whilst you're up on some windy place you don't want to be, plus another 10 minutes. And that never happens, does it? In the end, you just go, let's plug all these wires in, and I'll just go back to the office and I'll just Mac telnet to the thing and fix it. Yeah. Because it's windy up here.
Or if you're under duress, right? Say you just had an electrical storm and you're replacing a piece of equipment. You know, it's probably the middle of the night, or it's probably very early in the morning, and you know the last thing you're going to be doing is thinking clearly, and it's easy if you just have kind of some known good position to start from, right?
Yeah, and you can label the thing up as well, because I know what's going to happen. You're going to put your wires in, You're going to go, it's raining, I can fix this from the office. You get back down to the ground, go back to the office, you log on. Maybe it's the middle of the night or maybe it's the afternoon, you get back to the office, you start configuring the thing, you finally get it configured, and it's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I've got to go. Kids, I've got to pick the kids up. Yeah. It's working, brilliant. You've not labeled any of your ports, certainly no physical labels on the thing. If you had a pre-config, you would have just pre-labeled it when you got out, before you get out there. There's just so many reasons you should bench it and break it, put the right config on it, and then get it out there.
I like it. Yeah, so that was your number 2, bench it and break it. And bench it, so you're saying build it in the lab, right?
Yeah.
And have your defaults and know what it looks like in a normal condition, right?
Yeah. Either it's concepts you've not done before, then bench it and break it. And even if it's just a router you're taking out, I'll get that config on there. If you're just doing a straight replacement, it's not too hard, I guess. But if you're trying to do something new, do it. Label the ports up. So I did it for some of our data center stuff. Labeled all my ports up. Got to port 10. I'm like, I need a port 11. That's fine. I'm in the office. But that would have been me in the data center going, oh, what have I done? I've just forgot. So yeah, definitely.
That never happens.
So yeah, bench it and break it, and then document it, get it into production.
For sure. Your number 3 intrigues me. It says somebody else fixing it this time isn't going to help you fix it next time.
Yeah, exactly. So you phoning me and me getting me to fix your Exchange for you. That's great for me, but doesn't do anything for you. And even if I tell you what the problem was, when you fix something yourself and you don't really know what the problem is, you learn so much about that product or that configuration you've put in that probably 90% of that you maybe didn't need, but you're kind of going around the houses to eliminate things to get to the real problem. And eventually you'll fix the real problem. But in the meantime, you've learned so much stuff. So when that thing breaks next time, you've already done it all. You've already done it all. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna know. You're gonna have a far better idea, and maybe you don't need to phone me the second time around.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that, because that's how I learned. Was I felt like I couldn't ask anybody, and so I just forced myself to learn, and it really sunk in. But I feel like I also missed some opportunities to learn from other people, and something an adage I've heard one time and I've tried to live to is, they say a good consultant works themselves out of a job. And so that's what I try and do. So whenever I generally fix things for people, I'll do the repair, but then I'll make, just like I'm recording my screen now with this, I'll make a video of what I did, why I did it, my thought process on everything I did, which usually only takes me about 5 minutes to make the quick video, and then include the configuration changes, right? So not only do they have what I changed, but they've got me in my head following my process of why I did these things and exactly the steps I took to do them. So it's a tool they can go back on. It's just an unlisted YouTube video, and they can look at it whenever they want. And I never delete those things. I don't care. So I think while I 100% agree with what you mean, is that you've really got to own it and know it. But I think there's, you can always phone a friend on Millionaire, right? If you need a Hail Mary sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think what I mean is that I see techs who will, at the first sight of something they haven't done before, just go, somebody else needs to fix this. Or
they'll just call you. They'll just call you and say, yeah, because you're the guy who knows how to
they
do
get
it.
Passed up the line. They go, immediately this is a programming issue. Somebody else needs to deal with this. Or this is an Exchange issue. I'm not that good with that. Whereas they should sit down and have a go at it, get somebody over who's looking over the shoulder, and ask them questions about what's this and what's that, and why does this do this, and why does that do that. Yeah, I'm not saying just go it alone. It'd take you a very long time to get anywhere.
So it's the teach a man to fish adage, right?
Yeah. But if you're not going to have a go at fishing in the first place, and you just
I'm sorry. Fishing's not in my job description. Sorry, that's I can't do that. That's somebody else's job. It's like, no, that's one thing I tell all of my guys is there's no such thing as not my job. right? Everything is your job. Just we may have to call in some assistance. There's never a sorry we don't do that scenario, right? You have to be able to at least we've had generators, the hoses burst on them, right? The coolant hoses, and it's like you can't just throw your hands up and say that's not my job. You go get the roll of duct tape and you start you know what I mean? It's like you've got to do something.
Yeah, because somebody somewhere along up the tree at some point has got to do something. I think the more you do yourself and the more you learn yourself and the less you try to pass to other people just because you don't want to do it, the faster you're going to learn, the faster you're going to get up the tree, so that eventually you'll have a good idea what's going on with most things because you've fixed them. And I guess once you fix most things, you know how most things work. And if it's what you want to do, you can probably get out of being that guy at 2 a.m. In the rain, because you can be the design guy now because you've done it all. You know what's going on.
For sure. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want to work on these things, right? I don't know about you, but I love it when people want to take stuff off my plate. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big advocate. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I love my techs when they go, oh, well, actually, I am going to fix this. And unless something's down and there's a real time constraint,
right?
Absolutely, right. Every time, of course you can.
Excellent. So your number 4 is kind of a 4-parter. I like that, the symmetry there. Understand, replicate, fix, confirm. Sounds like kind of the life cycle of something, right?
Yeah, this is how you should go about fixing a problem or a ticket or pretty much anything where a customer is giving you something to fix. Just so I've been doing this for like 20 years and you see people, my 4-parter is understand it, replicate it, then you can fix it, and then confirm that you fixed it.
Yeah. Reading your description of understand it, it is so brilliant. It says understand the issue. If a customer is explaining it or a tech is telling you what's going on, probe them to make sure you get a good understanding of, make sure you have a shared language. I've been here in so many instances. Like I'll be working with a Fortune 500 company coming into the data center, and they'll explain to me how something's not working. And there's this assumption of knowledge, right? It's like you have this title, you have this level, so I'm assuming you know all of the intricacies of what you're trying to do here. And a lot of times they don't, or their nomenclature for something is completely different than yours, right? So you have to, or at least in my case, I usually try and play the dumb guy and say, well, it sounds like you're trying to do this and this and this, right? So to me, sometimes just understanding what they're attempting to do is more important than what they're actually telling you, right? Does that seem fair to you?
Yes. Yeah. We will get calls like Outlook is broke. And it's not the case at all, but I mean, that's their perception in their language, and an end user. And you're right, a tech might be using different languages.
Yeah, or they'll say the internet's down, when in honesty, they just can't get to Facebook. Everything else works, but they can't get there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great example we get is Outlook is broke. So really understand what they're saying. So in the olden days, I'd work with people who just create a ticket out of that. Outlook is broke, and then the next guy has to try and figure out what's going on. But what's broke about it? You click on the icon, does it work? Oh yeah, it comes up. Yeah. Oh right, okay. Then what happens? Well, I'll get a password box. Oh, okay. And then I have to put my password in, and then it all works, and I get my email through. So it's like, so it's working. Yeah, but he's putting a password box up. So that's the problem, It's like, just keep asking them, what's it like? What does it do? At what point and you've got to not be afraid to keep going back to people and asking them just to, somehow you've got to politely ask them to do it in different ways, but cross-examination.
Yeah. And that's the tough part for a lot of people, right? Is the polite way, is asking it in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, so the customer doesn't get fed up of telling you the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, and what you said kind of rang true about sometimes techs will just want to take it, put in a ticket, and get off the phone, right? I was on a cruise one time, and there was like a bucket like a cleanup bucket, and it said "Own the spill." And I thought that was brilliant. It's like if you see it, take ownership of it all the way until completion, even if you're not the guy that cleans it up, right? And so that's something I work on with a lot of our guys too, is take ownership of this problem, see it through fruition, and that's hard for some people to do, especially in IT, the less socially capable people. It's a constant struggle for a lot of us.
Yeah. But at the very least, my guys need to understand what's going on. And the same in the WISP world, customer phones up, my Wi-Fi's rubbish, my internet's rubbish, should I say. And by the time you get off the phone, it just turns out that this sat the other side of a 2-foot wall, and it's their wireless, and typical things. But just really understand what's going on, and keep probing until you've got an absolutely 100% idea of what is going on. And that's what kind of lead into number 2, which is to replicate it. So if you can't replicate something, you're really never going to know when you've fixed it. So back to the Outlook issue, I've seen people take that password example. So somebody's got a good understanding. Ideally, that tech should then maybe get a remote session, replicate it on the screen, and make sure that they can set things like, can I have your PC for an hour? Because I need to be able to click that button, and I need to be able to get that password prompt up. Because really, until you can do that, when you go and try and fix it in the next step, you're going to have to phone the customer back, and they might be in a meeting, and that might be 2 hours. Same with kind of WISP issues. If there's an issue, you've got to be able to replicate it. Pretty much, you log any ticket with MikroTik or any of the guys, they're going to ask you what the steps you take. How do we get to this from a base configuration? So yeah, you've really got to be able to replicate that.
And something else I heard you say there, it sounds like you said set clear expectations with your customer, right? Your end customer. If you think it's going to take an hour and you're going to be clicking and do all this stuff, kind of say that in advance, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of customer service stuff. There's loads of kind of customer service, but the user knowing that it's going to take an hour can then go and have a meeting, go and do some appraisal, whatever it is they want to do that's useful to them, instead of getting frustrated in front of the screen. You're dead right about that.
All right. When that leads to fix it, right?
Yeah, fixing it is easy, because if you understand the problem and you can replicate it, you just got to push buttons until when you replicate it, it doesn't happen anymore. So fixing it is kind of the easy part. If you've done parts 1 and 2 correctly. I've seen some people just try and come from a, Wi-Fi is down situation without any of the replication. So they've not logged onto maybe the unifying interface, they've not looked at the clients in there, they've not seen the actual state that things are in. And then they'll just go and find, the DHCP server's taking 8 seconds to respond, or 2.5 seconds. That's far too long. I need to reboot that. And now it's responding in 1 second. That must have been the problem. I've got it fixed. So if you've not replicated it, if you've not understood it, when you might fix something for sure, but it might not be the thing that fixes the customer's problem. To really understand it, replicate it, fixing it should be easy. Fixing it should be easy at this point. Fixing it is hard when you've not understood or gathered enough information,
right,
or have a method to know when you're fixing it or when you fixed it.
For sure. And I think maybe one of the more vital steps is number 4, confirm it.
Yeah, so you can take that phone call, understand it, and replicate it within 5-10 minutes. You can fix it within the next 10 minutes, and the customer can have a fix within 20. But if you don't tell them, if you don't phone them up and tell them it's fixed, so you leave that Outlook open on the screen, or you fix the Wi-Fi but don't tell anybody, and you're just expecting people to understand. This guy might have gone off to his meeting for an hour. He's not had a phone call, he's not had an email, he's not done anything. So he goes off for his lunch instead, and then comes back and he's like, is it fixed? Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. So you could have fixed it within 20 minutes, but you'll still get a bad rep because they think it took you 2.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. If you haven't told them, and then even sometimes we will fix stuff and we'll notify the customer, but they'll never say anything, right? And so part of our confirmation process is if we don't hear back from them in X amount of time, we'll actually reach out again and say, hey, we went through this fix and, these are the steps and we just wanted to confirm again, is everything working? So we kind of beat it to death until they say, yes, leave us alone, everything's working, because especially if you have SLAs associated with things, and you need kind of that confirmation point back, right? That digital evidence saying, yes, you agree that we have repaired it, right? It's a bit of CYA, but it's also, it forces your techs to follow up with the customer and make sure that it was seen through fruition. That's always been one of the hardest things for us, is people just want to do the least amount of effort, hit the checkbox, and then run away, to do whatever else is pressing.
Yeah, get an email that says your call is closed. Doesn't really help anybody. And what if it's not? What if that Outlook box comes back after 5 minutes? But yeah, phone them up. They're going to have to thank you on the phone as well. They're going to have to give you some praise. Thanks for fixing it within 20 minutes. Well, they might not, but they've got no chance of doing that if you don't phone them.
Yeah, for sure. Some of our issues too, a tech will carbon copy everybody in the company, right? And so as a measure to, because it's almost never our issue, right? And so we'll help these guys troubleshoot as much as we can, and we'll lead them to where the solution actually lies. And sometimes it's nice to get that confirmation back with everybody in the chain saying, yep, you're right, it wasn't you, and we see all of that. But if you don't get that follow-up confirmation, sometimes a tech would rather have the impression that it was your problem as opposed to their mistake. And I never want to call anybody out. I never try and lower a customer to elevate myself, but sometimes that can be important, especially when it's coming up for renewal or things like that.
Yeah, get that logged. Yeah, absolutely, and their confirmation.
Yeah, and it's just for me, it's so much easier to put things to bed when they say, "Yep, it's okay." Then I will move on, because that's one of the policies I follow. Is it's my problem, it's my fault until you tell me it's not. So I will continue to look at it. I'll continue to monitor it, continue to troubleshoot it. So I really want my time back, and my text time back. So it's just kind of. But, in the WISP industry, they're probably not going to dedicate somebody to nonstop trying to fix a problem at your grandma's house, right? Whereas you and I are maybe coming from more kind of a data center, enterprise, service environment. So those sorts of customer service touches are so critical to our just our longevity in the industry, keeping our jobs.
I think even the WISP, I think if somebody's phoned up to tell you something's broken, and it might be, you might have 100 people down, you're not going to want to phone 100 people up, but maybe the 10 that phone you to say it's broken, they should get a phone call back. Maybe. I don't know what you're saying. Maybe the time isn't there, but the customer service you'll get, the feedback you'll get will be great, I'm sure, from those 10.
For sure. And that's a minute and a half per phone call. So if it's 10 people, you're looking at 15 minutes. It's not going to kill you to do.
No, and you keep those 15 customers, even though you've had a problem. We see it with customers, the corporate world. You can have issues, but if you deal with them well, then actually they think you're great, even though you've had issues.
For sure.
So yeah, understand it, replicate it, fix it, and confirm it.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's... man, you've hit, just in that one, you've hit a lot of the problems we've struggled with for a long time, is trying to sort of train those individual things and how important they are to our people, customer service. So let's move on to your number 5. I like this. You can fix anything.
Yeah. Anybody can fix anything. If something's still broke, then you just haven't gathered enough information yet to know what the solution is. So if you've got that vague description, then you probably can't fix that until you get more information about what the issue is. But maybe you've got a decent description of what's going on, but you just don't really know what's going on. You don't know what the problem is. And I see different techs will approach it differently, and the kind of guys who have just started out, I guess some of those guys who start out and stay in the same place in their career for quite a while are generally people who don't want to go looking for what the problem is. If it's not screaming at them in the face, then they're kind of just like, I don't really know how to fix this. They don't know how to fix it, but they can. They just need to spend a bit more time. They need to, I don't know, the OSPF example, if you don't know what's going on, then you either need to just read up about OSPF a bit more, get some more information from the manual, or maybe you need to go and look at the logs. So get yourself into the system logging and get OSPF in there, getting it log into memory, and you can watch the log up in front of you. And when you see something that doesn't look right, then you can start analysing it. But it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes trawling through information. And generally the difference between kind of an alright tech and a good tech, the guys are going to kind of trawl through those logs and really figure out what is going on. Because they can fix it. And then the kind of difference between that and then a great tech is generally just experience, knowing which kind of logs to be looking at in the first place. But they're still going to have to trawl through logs. And definitely by the time it gets to me, kind of, I class myself as fifth line in the company, really. It normally is just, I'm just trawling through logs. VMware logs, I don't know, the guest logs, Windows event logs. I'm just trawling through stuff. And it's generally about persistence. And you can fix anything. You will also get to that point where you think you can't fix it and you're in charge. And you're on site and you've got 100 people staring at you. You can't fix that as well. You can fix anything. You just need to kind of gather yourself and understand you just need more information. It's not that you're not going to fix it, you just need more information. So where's the next source of information I can look at to help me fix this?
Gotcha, for sure. That's tremendous. The idea of being on site in the moment, in the heat of battle. I think everybody's been there. You know, the adrenaline's rushing. You instantly start to sweat. And what's ironic is that, you know, you kind of go into fight or flight mode, so all the blood drains from your brain, the one place you need it to stay, to make those conscious, you know, those decisions where you're trying to do all this troubleshooting stuff. And I've seen people just lock up before in those scenarios. And my experience is you just have to be there a couple of times before you learn to kind of control it. And I think that you're right. That's where the wisdom comes in, right? The application of knowledge over time. You just have to do it a few times and eventually realize that you'll survive and nobody's going to come home and eat your cat, you know, and at the end of the day, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. My first job, went out with my boss. There's a web server that was down, but it's a fairly critical web server. And we got there, it's a Linux box. This is 20 years ago, neither of our Linux skills were fantastic. And we worked on it for half an hour, maybe. And in the end, my boss just said, right, that's it. And I said, oh, how do you mean? He said, breakfast. We're off for breakfast. And we went and we had breakfast, we regrouped, came back, and over breakfast, we kind of just batted a load of ideas backwards and forwards. How are we going to fix it? What's going to tell us what's wrong? And we kind of walked back to the server room, logged on, and 20 minutes later, it's fixed. Sometimes just a bit of time out, just to get away from that feeling, that crushing feeling that I'm going to lose this contract because they've been down for an hour already, or I don't know. You've got to somehow park all of that and just go back to, actually, how am I going to fix it? Because it will get fixed, because it has to, but it will get fixed. It will get fixed. But yeah, I've been there. Fairly recently, I was trying to remember when, but I remember sitting in front of a server that had been passed to me kind of up the chain at work, and we couldn't fix it so far, and I looked at it for an hour and a half, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. And I was just thinking, we're actually not going to fix this. Take yourself off for 5 minutes and just, have a think about what you're going to do, but you will fix it. And like I said, sometimes, maybe not in a pressure situation, but you feel you can't fix something. You're probably just not looking at enough logs, or in the back of your mind, you know what you need to do to fix it. You know you need to turn those logs on, and you know you're going to waste not waste, but you're going to lose 20 minutes of your life looking through logs. And at the back of my, and you'll spend 20 minutes trying to go around it, going into cleaning, you can fix it.
I kind of think of it like when you get into an altercation with somebody, and then on the way home, you think, God, I should have said this. That would have been so awesome. It's one of those things. As soon as you're away from it, you get a second to think. It actually starts to make sense. That's great. I love this. Like, all of these things, I think are very fundamental to every IT guy, but a lot of times we don't look at it in this way, right? Until somebody presents it in a list where it's the life cycle. Like I love because I can visually see just each one of these going into a circle feeding in, right? And just completion of the steps. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. But the more important question is, you live in the UK, and I'm a big fan of British television, and people tell me that British television is terrible. So I was just going to see what your opinion of it is. Like, I love the Great British Baking Show. That's probably my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, the Bake Off. Yeah.
And then the Great British Sewing Bee. That's like a new one that started.
Oh, you watched that? Yeah. I've seen a couple. But yeah, so have you seen the Bake Off with? So they moved channels and they changed presenters. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't watch a whole lot of TV, to be honest.
I don't either. I just stream UK stuff. That's it. That's pretty much the only television I watch. It's bizarre.
I stream a lot of Netflix now, but UK TV, it's all right. It's kind of all right.
I'm interested. It's so different from what I'm accustomed to. I think that's why it intrigues me so much.
So I think we used to watch the Great British Bake Off, and have I got news for you? But if you're in the US and you're not current with UK news, then you probably not find it interesting. But that's about all we watch, to be fair.
All right. So what's the deal with Brexit? Give me a breakdown. Are you worried?
Oh, they just need to get on with it. I mean,
because they're still at no deal, right? They haven't come to any decision yet.
I've not really caught up today, but yeah, there's no decision. I think we've gone back to ask for a 3-month extension today. I don't think an extension is going to do us any good. It's just more uncertainty. The worse the pound gets, the more all our tech costs. So the pound against the dollar, if that's weak, then all the HP kit we're buying goes up in price, or everything just goes up in price. Customers don't want to spend even more money. So I'm like, with most decisions in life, just make it and get on with it. Even if it was 80% right, if you're 100% behind it, then that's all right. That's fine.
You got to figure it out.
Rather than prevaricating forever and getting the 95% one, but only 50% of people behind it. So that's just me.
Fair enough.
I just get on with it. I don't mind.
I like it. All right, Matt.
What do you guys think of it?
What do we think about
do you see Brexit?
Brexit.
Yeah.
It's pretty confusing. I actually saw, who was it? John Oliver did like an episode on what actually is Brexit and what's happening. And one of the things he talked about was Ireland, like the border in Northern Ireland, and how they're worried that they might have to install like checkpoints, and how well that went over last time. You guys had checkpoints, with the bombs and the bullets. And so just, what's going to happen if all of a sudden there's no deal and then that gets reinstated, and that's pretty terrifying. Because, I know a couple of guys over there, and I can't, so there's a show called Dairy Girls, another UK show, that's pretty interesting because it's set like in the 80s while all of that fighting was really going on, and just kind of, it gives you it's a comedy, but it gives you a taste of sort of how it felt all the time. And these people, it's crazy how it was just commonplace, you know, of another bombing or another outbreak of fighting. It was just, you know, for children to have that kind of violence commonplace is really disturbing. And so I hate to think that my friends over there have to go through that, you know, and their kids would have to become numb to that sort of thing. You know, it just, because of Brexit, it seems bizarre that we'd let that, or I can't say we didn't do that, but that people would let that happen, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of things need to change in politics. Giving people such a fundamental vote. I'm not saying don't give people the vote, but people need time to reflect on what's happened maybe. And whilst I don't want a second vote, I think right from the outset you should have thought about it. And if you watch them in Parliament, I mean, they just shout and scream at each other. I think things have to change. Well, on an Irish border thing, they are saying they think they've got technology that will do this now without having hard borders. So
they'd be good. Something I saw or heard or read said that you know, that Parliament really could have made this decision, but they didn't want to be responsible for it, so they kicked it over to the people to vote for. And a lot of the folks were saying that they didn't fundamentally understand what they were really even voting for. Like, what were the consequences of what they were doing? They really didn't understand all of that stuff. And the idea is, right, we elect these people that are supposed to educate themselves on this stuff and, you know, vote on our behalf for these things. And those are the people that, you know, didn't want to make the controversial decision, so they just kicked it down the road a little ways. And that just seems unfortunate.
They need to. We need to change things. I don't think it's going to help Brexit, but hopefully down the road we'll not be here again.
For sure. Yeah. It's interesting to me, at least, just from an outsider's perspective, just because it really is this sort of, I mean, it pops up in my news feed every day, and I really have almost no idea what it means, or honestly, I don't even know how it affects me personally. I mean, I know we're pretty much one big global economy at this point, but you know, folks like you, it's definitely going to affect you and your ability to feed your kids and, you know, pay for your homes and just all the normal things.
Everybody seems to have a different idea. Some people say it'll be like the millennium bug. Just
nothing really happens.
No problems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's humans, right? We adapt. We just kind of find a new path and get it done. So I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, I've eaten up a bunch of your time. So Matt Whiteley, if people want to get a hold of you out on the internet, I don't even know if you want them to, but if you were to have them do such a thing, how would you have them contact you?
That is a good question. I'm on the TheBrothersWISP. Yes, absolutely.
Plug it, baby.
So you can find me on there. You can get me at my Hotmail address, which is mjwhitel@hotmail.com. mjwhitel@hotmail.com. And that's pretty much it, I think.
All right, fair enough. Any closing thoughts?
No, you needed to prep me for that. Can we have a think about that?
No, man, you get on the spur. I wanted to hear you say vote for PewDiePie or something crazy random. That'll work. All right. I'm Greg. If you want to get a hold of me, the Little Brothers Wisp Slack is actually probably the easiest way. If you DM me in there, you slide in my DMs anytime if you're on there. That can be found at patreon.com/TheBrothersWISP. You jump over there, you sign up, we'll send you a link, you jump in, and it's awesome. So one of those things Matt was talking about earlier is somebody who's been there and maybe knows a better way of breaking it. A lot of these guys have broken lots of things, so it's a really convenient place to ask about that sort of stuff. And when I say I'm looking for experts, I'll find the channel and I'll just throw a question in there. And usually one of you smart guys will pop in and at least give me some direction to start. I love that. I love it. Like, you know, what's sort of super blown me away is in the last week we've had, and I don't know if you like in the random channel, we had a discussion on religion and sort of how it affects people. And nobody got upset, and nobody said anything inflammatory or derogatory. It was really just introspective thought on things. And I don't know that I've ever seen that anywhere on the internet before. So I think that kind of speaks to the group of people and their the way they comport themselves in this environment it's awesome. I just love to see it. I love to see it. I don't know if you jumped in there or not, but if you guys have any tips, please send them to us. Please jump on here. Please record them. Remember that you're paying it forward. Matt, thank you so much for popping in here and doing yours. I know you are 5 hours in the future, so this was a very inconvenient thing for you to do, so I really appreciate you finding the time to do it.
No worries. No worries.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
So
Thanks,
sit
man.
back and start learning. Lighting up the tower so people can start searching. Shooting up the web in neighborhoods, net surfing. We got horrible jokes, we're loud and annoying, but we're informative facts, we're not disappointing. Just give us a listen, cause fun is the mission. I'm telling you, you don't know what you are missing. Ideas and some good comedy given. If you missed the show already, don't worry, you're forgiven.